170 pounds for Tony El Kukui Ferguson.
Could this be Tony Ferguson's last UFC weigh-in before his final goodbye? While most of what happens at a UFC weigh-in is routine protocol, for Ferguson, this weighing-in was an event rife with finality, and as such made it captivating to just about everyone connected to the fight game, whether fighter or fan. That 170 pounds the scales read for Ferguson has led to some heavy speculation, and conjecture comes with a lot of questions about what might be next in his career.
Rio's in trouble. Rio's in trouble.
Gonna look
and
for
there's
the
that Darce. There's that Darce choke again, sliding it through. He's rolling for it. This is his technique. He loves this technique. He got it.
Tony Ferguson.
Tony Ferguson, a man whose fighting style is about as relentless and diverse as the names he dons, has been a staple of the UFC's lightweight division for well over 10 years. These have not only helped him secure fight victories, but have also earned him followership from fans who appreciate his tenacity and dancing-like movement in the current age. This weigh-in can be more than just a tradition before the performance. This is doubtless the signal that Ferguson is at the crossroads of his career. Everybody, viewers and the media in particular, dared not breathe in a bid to try and forecast what this weigh-in could signify. Is this going to be the last time we see Ferguson step on the scale for a UFC fight? As compelling and notable as these numbers are, there are far more layers to this moment and its ramifications, as this is a fight featuring one of the most intriguing and storied athletes in this sport. To properly appreciate this weigh-in, it's useful to take a look back at Tony Ferguson's previous performances. It can therefore be noted that from the beginning of his UFC career, Ferguson was on the path to stardom with a series of performances that presented him as one of the more exciting figures in the UFC.
A freestyle fighter holding a professional record, 11 wins, 2 losses. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 169 pounds. Fighting out of Ventura, California, Tony El Kukui Ferguson!
He debuted in the UFC in 2011, and through his wacky southpaw stance and constant forward pressure, gained popularity. The start of Ferguson's meteoric rise was achieved via a 12-fight winning streak, a run that is still the longest streak of wins in the history of the UFC lightweight division. In this sequence, he wrestled with and vanquished numerous first-rate contenders, and in doing so demonstrated how he could learn how to overcome adversity. A lot has been said about the nature of Ferguson's fighting, which many regard as very unorthodox. This official physiognomy is precisely marked by creativity and aggression, but above all, a certain recklessness that makes him an enthralling to watch fighter, irrespective of whether he is bending his opponent to the ground in a dramatic submission or knocking them out cold. Ferguson's fights are filled with excitement. Special wins over other prominent fighters like Rafael dos Anjos and Kevin Lee, together with Donald Cowboy Cerrone, paved the way for the fighter to be considered as one of the best talents in UFC. That said, the break has been a double-edged sword for Ferguson, whose career has not been without its ups and downs. Sometimes mishaps and injuries have slowed his progress. Nevertheless, every time, he has been brought back into the octagon with even more desire. Sheesh! A man's ability to endure in those situations is a perfect example of passion for the game. As we consider this weigh-in, it's crucial to ask, what does this mean for Ferguson and his fabulous football career? Is this the end of his long story in the UFC, or is this just the beginning? The response to this question will, without a doubt, set the pace in a subsequent part of his profession. This is true even for PR activity, although the numbers on the scale may presuppose significant events within the framework of professional fighting. Regarding Ferguson, how is coming in 170 pounds asking the following questions? Is this weight an indication that this is a shift of strategy, a change of training, or something more sinister?
£155.5 for Joel Alvarez. £155 for Elvis Brenner. £115.5 for Mackenzie Dern.
Examining the weigh-in as compared to other fighters, then Ferguson is in a different league altogether. The current weight of Joel Alvarez was 155 pounds for the lightweight division, while Mackenzie D was 115 pounds for the strawweight division, as was Lupi Gens. 5 pounds and other main title contenders, including Davis Figueiredo and Shada Mohammadov, also stepped on the scales. It appears that scholars average 170 pounds, so Ferguson is notably taller than many scholars. There can be as many causes for this as one can imagine. Might it not be that Ferguson is changing his division or is simply tweaking the way he fights? Many fighters can switch their weight sometimes, according to the training routine and the approaching bouts. However, can this weight be viewed as the indicator of the next shift linked to the timing and the context? These are questions that come to mind in an attempt to seek to know whether there is something that keeps him from making preparations and planning for future fights. Some conclusions can be made if this weigh-in is compared with previous ones of this fighter. However, this one could well be of some importance, since Ferguson has fought in the 155-pound division before. Of course, one has to wonder if this weight change means a change in his future job profile, or if it is a change which has been planned in his plan. And so the question arises, assuming further speculation about Ferguson's status, what is going to happen next? UFC is a very evolving setting, and the fighters are always in specific positions that determine their careers. In Ferguson's case, this weigh-in can be possibly the turning point. Is he going to carry on with the championship and do his best, or does this match his career's swan song? The UFC's lightweight division has been very hot for a long time because contenders for the title positions were very worthy rivals. Ferguson continues to be a factor in the division as well as in soccer in general, being that his absence would leave a massive blow on the division and probably the world of soccer. His style of dancing and the performances that he gives make people remember him, and upon his departure, there might be a void that could be hard to fill. Ferguson and many fans and analysts have pointed to several possible roads ahead. He could retire, thus putting an end to a lengthy career but one, which will be remembered for many more years to come. Otherwise, he might switch positions inside the sphere of such a kind of the sport as MMA. For example, he might become a coach or a commentator, so his input would remain significant for the community. Please do not hesitate to provide your comment/feedback and be our member in the conversation as we wait for the continuation of one of the truly inspirational stories of mixed martial arts.